Welcome to the Next Generation podcast, where I interview people who are walking in their purpose to encourage and motivate the next generation. Today, I am with Mitch Cutz in his shop, and we will be talking about his story and how it all started. Now, before we get into it, I just want to ask, do you remember meeting at Proof?
Yeah, I definitely
You remember that?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, okay, because I was a little late, and I was like, I wonder if you remember it, but I want to bring it back up. And it's just crazy how we end up meeting again at the run group. So I just feel like, I don't know, like not that it was purposeful, but it's just crazy how we're here now. Like, I don't know, I was just thinking, God, like it's just crazy how stuff come back in a circle.
Definitely.
You know? But for the first question, it is for someone who doesn't know your story of becoming, for someone who doesn't know you and your story of becoming a barber, not only a barber but an owner, how did it all start?
I started cutting my own hair back when I was in 7th grade. I was jacking myself up pretty much, you know what I mean? My dad used to cut my hair, he used to jack me up too, but I think that really kind of like inspired me to kind of like just start cutting my own hair. I didn't start cutting other people's hair till I was in like 9th grade. Kind of just had like a talk with myself in the mirror, I was just cutting my hair and I'm thinking like, damn, I might be able to cut my hair or cut other people's hair basically.
Yeah.
My mom used to always come and work with bags and stuff like that. So, she came in for work and I kind of like was just like, as soon as I seen the door open, I pretty much was on her back for real.
Yeah.
Like I didn't even let her in the door for real. I just had something to tell her, like I wanted to be a barber. She looked at me sideways a little bit like, oh, I could see that.
In 9th grade?
Yeah, 9th grade.
Really?
Yeah, and like the day after, the next day, she kind of pretty much came back with like a barber combo kit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that pretty much just kind of gave me enough push to pretty much just like, I got something to prove. You know what I mean?
No, that's really good. Like the support from your mom, did that like encourage you to go like, all right, now I gotta really do this?
Definitely, you know what I mean? Because my mom growing up, you know what I mean, she was always like a hard worker and she didn't really make too many excuses about things that she had to do. You know what I mean? So I just felt like I owed her at least that to be like, yo, if you're going to give me this opportunity to show you what I got, let me show you what I could really do with it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but how did it start though? Was you cutting in school or like how did you get people in school to like let you cut their hair?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you, it was a rough start, honestly, you know what I mean? I had to, I could remember like yesterday, I was kind of like begging some of the people in my school. I was like, yo, bro, like I'm trying to learn how to cut hair. Like, just give me a shot. You know what I mean? Even though they gave me a shot, it ended terribly, but I was determined. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I mean? And not God forbid, but like, luckily I had the opportunity to redo that haircut once I got better with my skills, you know what I mean? We could laugh about, some of the mistakes that I had back then, you know what I mean, as we got older. So I'm definitely grateful that God gave me that opportunity to pretty much, revisit that opportunity with people to kind of show them what I got going on now.
Right. I think I was going to ask, like, who did you start watching to, like, learn? Was there anybody specific or?
There was a lot of barbers like on YouTube that I was learning from. A lot of the things that I implemented into my business or me growing or to kind of like make myself stand out, I focused on a lot of barbers that were like outside of Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
They put a lot more energy into their barbering, you know what I mean, as far as how they promote themselves and how they present themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But that's kind of one of the things that kind of helped me, you know what I mean, get my name out here because I was doing things that people weren't doing in the inner city.
Yeah.
But besides YouTube, my brother's dad, he had went to barber school and he had pretty much gave me like some more fundamentals on some of the fading techniques, and he had gave me some newer clippers that were actually more into a barbershop, so they're a little bit more advanced, a lot better than what I kind of had using at the time. So that pretty much gave me a little bit more push, but I still had to get out here and, you know what I mean, learn how to do it by myself, you know what I mean?
I understand. Did you have any fear when signing the lease for your shop?
I wouldn't necessarily say fears. It was more of just like kind of weighing my options, because it's just like, it was a new step for me. It was freshly after the pandemic. I was kind of grinding the whole pandemic, just working from home, and kind of just thinking about the financial part of it. Like, I mean, how much more money do I have to push out in order for me to be able to, at least have a shop just with me in it before I get anybody else in it, you know what I mean? So it wasn't necessarily a fear, it was just kind of just making an educated guess, like, all right, let me make sure that I, you know what I mean, I got the right clientele, I got enough funds coming in, you know what I mean, putting everything on the table and just really just making that move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were basically planning.
Yeah, so I probably once the situation, or not situation, but once the opportunity presented itself, I probably sat on it for about 30 days, asked a couple people a couple questions like, what you think? You think I should this or that? I'm like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Because what's crazy is I was thinking about before the pandemic had came, I thought about leaving Pittsburgh, you know what I mean? But you know what I mean, the pandemic kind of shook a couple things up, you know what I mean? Kind of made me feel like, it'd be smarter just to stay here.
Yeah.
And I kind of got an idea in my mind where, like, I think I deserve a piece of the pie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just with working so hard in the city, I feel like I need to at least put something here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
A lot of people think they have to leave to like build something, but I feel like you should see what you can do here, and then take it somewhere else, or even just see first. Like, okay, start where you are, and then, like, you know what I'm saying? If it don't work here, then take it there. Like, you know?
Yeah.
But how old were you when you became a barber? I think you kind of answered that. And when you became an owner, like the time frame?
If I could, I was in business for at least 5 years. So, I'm 31 now, so I probably grabbed this around like 26. You know what I mean? Roughly around that, probably going into 27.
What is something you learned like in the between process? Like in between them ages, like what is something that you could say you learned as an owner or like as a barber?
What was that owner? I feel like in business or just it's just in ownership, business in general, like like it's definitely going to challenge you. It's definitely going to, you know what I'm saying, it's definitely going to it's definitely going to lean on some of your weaknesses as an individual, you know what I mean? Whatever you maybe not be as confident in, it's going to put you in a position to see if you're strong enough to actually like enhance those skills.
Mm-hmm.
Growing up, I wasn't always this super confrontational type. I wasn't always, I think the confrontation part was basically the biggest thing with me. Like I had a hard time, you know what I mean, breaking bad news to people, you know what I mean, growing up. So that was one of the things that I had to develop, especially as an owner, and especially as a leader, you know what I mean?
What mistakes have you made on your journey, and what lessons did you learn from
it? As far as just a barber or the owner?
Both, either or.
Mistakes?
Don't have to be, you can just name one.
Mistakes. So many, you know what I mean? I'm trying to think.
Yeah, no rush.
I wouldn't necessarily say there were mistakes that I made. It's just more of like, there's still mistakes, but there are more of like lessons that I've learned from, as far as just how to, like, you know what I mean, assess certain situations, especially as being an owner, you know what I mean? So certain problems may have occurred, you know what I mean, and being a business owner, I may have prejudged or went overboard, or, you know what I mean, situations like that. That's a tough question.
Yeah.
Really run that one back.
Okay. If you had to dedicate your success to anyone, who would you say helped you become the man you are today?
That would go back to my mom. You know what I mean? Like I said, she was a hard worker growing up, you know what I mean? Working 2-3 jobs at some times, going to school online, you know what I mean? So that definitely kind of like set the tone for, like, you know what I mean, how hard I had to work in order to get to where I was trying to get to.
Did you have any like examples of like somebody close to you who had ownership or like who was like somewhere you wanted to be? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like mentors or family or friends or anything, like that.
I wouldn't necessarily say that because I always kept kind of always kept myself in my own lane. I may be seeing other people doing their thing, but I kind of just like always gotta be the kind of person kind of like wait my turn. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And how do you view the competition in the barber industry?
Competition? I'm not really a competitive kind of person. I kind of just do my own thing. Whoever's better is better. Whoever's it is what it is. I want everybody to win. That's the kind of mindset I got.
Was it always like that, or did you like grow into it?
I've always been that way. I've never been competitive. I don't really know what it feels like.
Yeah, I feel like when I was in barber school, I felt like the first thing you think is like there's many barbers, like everybody's doing it, and you feel some sense of competition, but everybody's not the same. Yeah. So that's why I wanted to ask you that question. What do you believe make a business last? I've seen like a lot of shops come and go, but why do you think yours is growing?
You gotta keep going. Honestly, you can't give up when things get hard. Things are definitely going to get harder as they go on. Things are not going to always go your way, but you just gotta be able to be in the mindset of things that things are going to get better no matter what.
Okay, let's say I'm a new barber, right? And I'm a little but I can do a little something to get people in my chair. How much should I charge and how should I scale myself starting off?
If you're a new barber, I would definitely think that it would be best for you to charge not as low as you can, but definitely on the lower end, and definitely try to get around a shop environment that is like it's supported. People are actually trying to grow. People are actually trying to get to the next step, next level. They're not just kind of content with where they're at. Mm-hmm. Try to be around a positive environment. That way you can actually grow to the barber that you need to be.
Right. I agree. How long did it take for you to be like able to do this full time? Starting from did you ever work in that?
Yeah. I used to work at UPMC for a certain period of time. But what's crazy is I was working at UPMC, and I had went to barber school, and it was a tough time, working and going to school. So my idea was just kind of like I was trying to easily kind of transition myself into like leaving the 9 to 5, going to like being my own entrepreneur basically. But it didn't really work out that way. I pretty much I kind of just devoted everything into barbering. While I was working that job, I kind of was calling off to cut hair. I was cutting hair before or after work. So I was getting wrote up at work because I was either late or I was oversleeping, and I ended up getting fired from my last 9 to 5 job. But I didn't really get that easy transition. I pretty much got kicked into becoming a barber full time.
Do you feel like it took a long time, or was it like a smooth process after school?
It didn't take that long for me, honestly, because I was already working towards it before I even got to school. Mm-hmm. So I pretty much already had, my reps in. Right. So my name was already out there. So that kind of made it a little bit easier for me. Yeah. Then, once I got fired from my job, I pretty much was already ready.
Okay, yeah. In the next few years, where do you see yourself as an entrepreneur?
Hopefully, hopefully maybe a couple more barbershops, maybe a little bit of real estate, but only God knows what's, in store for me.
Amen. And as a barber, do you believe like going to barber cons and networking and stuff is important, or?
It honestly, it all depends on where you're trying to take it. Like if you're trying to, create a bigger platform, like maybe like an education online to teach other barbers on how to cut hair, or if you're trying to like expand to different states and stuff like that, that may be more important for you then, but it's not necessarily necessary. But it's good. It's a great thing to network like that because you never know who you may meet.
Right.
And what kind of opportunities may present themselves later down the line.
Like now.
Definitely.
In your opinion, what is the best trimmers or clippers to use? And what would you recommend for new barbers to use?
Just somebody to pick from nowadays. I would say that, but as of right now, my newest clippers right now is the Fabulous 245, the black and green ones. Yeah. Those are pretty good right now. So if you know what those look like, you know what those at, those are definitely a good set to start with.
Oh, bro, that's what to start with. Do you think people should come out of school owning a shop or work in a shop and go their way to be an owner?
I definitely feel like you should work in a shop for a certain duration of time, at least work underneath the owner to see what, some of the troubles that they encounter, some of the situations that they have to deal with. That way you kind of get an insight on what you're going to be dealing with once you become an owner, because it's not as easy as it looks, you know what I mean?
What do you think about studios? Would you agree, like, is that the same thing? Or do you think they should go to a studio, or do you think they should still go to a shop?
I definitely would still go to a shop, because a studio requires you to have already a well-built clientele base. Mm-hmm. And studios, depending on where you're at, they're pretty expensive, so you're definitely going to be able to you have to be in demand to be able to pay for that. You know what I mean? That ticket, honestly.
Yeah, no, waste of money.
Definitely.
And rent and all that. Just to say they have it, a lot of people try to go that route, but I agree with you. Okay, let's say I'm a new barber, and I say, Mitch, I want to be like you. I want to grow my clientele. What advice would you give a new barber to grow the clientele?
Once again, this is definitely still goes back to this, making sure you're in the right area, right shop. Definitely try to find a shop that has a high walk-in traffic. That way you can get your reps in, because you only get better once you repeat over and over, no matter what kind of haircut it is. If it's just temp fades, ball fades, just texturized cuts, like, you have to do it, continuously, so you can actually master that specific cut, That way you can actually get to where you're trying to get to.
Right. Okay. Last but not least, it's kind of the same question, but what advice would you give the next generation? It could be up barbers or just anybody you like.
That's advice I can give somebody to honestly just, stay focused. It's just equivalent to you being in the right area as far as where you work, but just make sure you got the right friend group, the right family members, just the right, you just need the right village behind you to help you, motivate you and push you, Stay away from negativity as much as you can and try to focus on what you can do better and not, That's pretty much, I guess I say.
Yes, take a village. Do not try to do it on your own. Work with people, don't be afraid to ask for help, and network, basically. But yeah, that was the interview. Thank y'all for tuning in, and we'll see y'all in the next one.